I'm in 1105 looping cell animation, and I actually have a pretty good cell animation with the looping bouncy ball going on. I don't need to do any more animation or drawing with this cell animation, so I can just go ahead and close up my cell animation window and just take a moment to clean everything up here. I'm going to go ahead and close my paint and brushes panel. I'm going to take my layer window and put it back behind my composition window. Let's go ahead and drag this back over, and I'll just give this a little more space. That looks pretty good to me. Let me get this over so it's completely open. All right, great. Now let me hit spacebar and preview and see what I got. This looks pretty good, but I want to take a quick moment to add a few finishing touches to incorporate this cell animation into my scene and set it up as an ongoing loop. I'm going to extend my work area to cover the entire 5 seconds here, and I'm going to close up cell 1, and I can just rename this bouncy ball cell. And I'm going to move this below my brown pulpy paper texture. This way that texture is actually on it a little bit more. That looks pretty good, but notice it's no longer looping, and that's because I opened up my workspace here, and the loop only goes to about 2 seconds and 9 frames is all that the animation happens. So to make a loop out of this, I need to do a few steps. First, I'm just going to go ahead and Option right bracket, or just click and drag to move this down here. So the actual length of this is the same length as the animation. Now, there's a few different ways to loop things in Adobe After Effects using Duik, but one of my favorites, the Morpher, cannot be used on here because this does not use keyframes. All of the cell animation actually uses the paint effect, and since it's using the paint effect, we can't actually use Morpher. So what we need to do is pre-compose it and use the time remap tools in the automation toolbox. So first, let's pre-compose the bouncy ball cell. I'm going to right-click on it. I'll select pre-compose. I want to make sure to select Move All Attributes into the new composition. This makes sure that it moves this cell layer and the effect inside the new composition, and it doesn't leave the paint effect on the new composition. We need to do this because we need this cell animation and this effect to be affected by the timecode that is created by the pre-comp. So I'm going to rename this Bouncy Ball Pre-Comp, and I'll just hit OK. Now this extended the pre-comp all the way to the length of our composition, which isn't that big of a deal. I can just go forward and find that place where it ends, click and drag it, and that's pretty good right there. And now I'm going to go into my project window where we see my bouncy ball pre-comp. I'm going to twirl open assets and just put this into my pre-comps folder and leave it there for the time being. I'll close assets. And now I can actually enable time remap on this layer using the time remap button here in the automation toolbox. Let's just make sure I have this highlighted, click on time remap, and since I want to loop this, I'll check mark loop, and I'll make sure loop out is selected. With loop out, it will loop from the beginning ongoing. With loop in, it will loop into where it goes and then stop. So loop out. I'll click time remap. We can take a look at this. I'll select down here and I'll extend this out now again. And I can just delete this last little keyframe here and we'll hit the space bar and check it out. And it looks really good. It's continuing to loop this over and over again. And now we have our bouncy ball bouncing on an ongoing loop. And that's that. A looping bouncy ball traditional cell animation in After Effects thanks to Duik.